it seems that the player's representative and the player would like to go to Manchester City, but as we speak, and I say that again, there's been no formal approach to Eintracht Frankfurt from Manchester City. They will ask for a lot of money. I think we're talking about 80 million euro.
Hi and welcome to the Fußball channel. It's a pleasure to be back with all of you, and as always with co-host Jan Fjørtoft. 2025, Dad, a big year for the Bundesliga, big year for a lot of things. It's your birthday tomorrow as we're speaking on a Thursday. It's my birthday on Sunday too, so we're getting off with the new year with a crack, but good to be back. A nice little break that we've had together, and then going straight into the Bundesliga season with games at the weekend, Englische Woche, and what have you. But again, good to be back.
Yeah, and Happy New Year to everybody. We took some time off. I normally work at Christmas, but we had a family holiday, so it was great to be back. But I've of course, followed everything that's going on. There are so many talking points because somehow I was surprised that Vincent Kompany managed to get Bayern going so quick. Because I remember when we started the season, I said he's a bit too naive, quote. Also that he is not good at having a plan B. But you have to give it to him. I mean, they have played more entertaining. They have played more with passion. What is missing is, of course, first of all, a great opposition because Leipzig and Dortmund have been below pari, if that's the English expression for it.
It is
but
now.
Leverkusen, it is now, yeah. And but Leverkusen has come closer now. So now we kind of have a game now. We go into 2025, kind of reigning champion Leverkusen. Close that up. They're playing Bayern at home, and Kompany still this exam for him. Can he do it in a big game? It's not about a wet night in Stoke. It's about can he do it on a big night? And to win something, you have to do it on big nights. And they've already missed out on Pokal, the cup games. So, yes, it's going to be a hell of a month and a Rückrunde, the second part of the season in Germany.
And we'll kind of in tandem do a little review of what happened going into this season. You just touched upon it there with Bayern and Kompany and Leverkusen and what have you, while also looking ahead. And I think what we can do will make this an efficient review and preview going into the second half of the season. But let's start with the top half. And, you know, as a general summary, you obviously have Bayern firing on all cylinders and Kompany having a real impact in terms of how they played. And then you looked at the time before and after that Barcelona game. Bayern were criticized, but also praised for their expansive football. A lot of a stylistic difference, much needed identity, a positive identity as such, compared to what they had in a Tuchel. But that Barcelona game, Dad, where they lost 4-0, it seemed to have an impact on Kompany in the way Bayern approached games. They went on to then get clean sheets in, I believe it was 6 games in a row after that. But as such, became a bit more conservative as such. And then we got to the last game of the season right before Christmas, and then they beat RB Leipzig 5-1 at home, and then you were kind of back to it. So that's kind of the idea with Bayern coming into it. And then on the flip side, you had Leverkusen, if we're talking about the two main challengers, starting a bit shaky, giving away 2-0 goal leads, and then getting stronger over the course of the season, and now finding themselves 4 points behind Bayern. As a part of a review, are those the two main contenders you see looking into this season? And how, I guess part of it is also predicting how you see it going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, you can't expect Eintracht Frankfurt to go all the way. I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt had a bit bad form at the end of the season, or the Hinrunde, the first part of the season, but still they're third in the league, but nobody can expect them to go all the way. What is interesting with Leverkusen is that when they started the season, there is a combination when a smaller club, no disrespect to Bayer Leverkusen because they won the Bundesliga, but you start off in a new season, and we said it, that if they are second, third, or even if they are top 4 this season, go into Champions League, well, it's not a crisis. They've kind of established themselves up there. So at the beginning of the season, remember last season, they were always miraculous what they did at the end of the games, and that got a bit against them at the beginning of the season. Some games that did not go their way, so it took some time to kind of find themselves again. Alonso had a couple of times that he put the flag down. We have to shapen up. We have to not follow my instruction, but we have to be disciplined the way I want to play. But like you're saying, slowly, Florian Wirtz, Boniface, they slowly get into it, and then you have so many different match winners there. 4 points after Bayern. That is quite good. I like that. I think they love the position they do have, because they put pressure on Bayern. Bayern were third in the league last season. They got a top team if you look at their players. But going into a 2025, and I guess we're going to talk a bit about it later, but what will happen to Musiala? There is a lot of things going on around him. Joshua Kimmich, Alphonso Davies, Leroy Sané. What will happen to Goretzka? Will he stay? Will he don't get enough minutes? And so on and so on. On the positive side, Marcus, I want to say, because you talked about that 4-0 and then they have clean sheet. One of the surprises this season, I must say, is that Kim and Upamecano have functioned so well in the central of the defense at Bayern. That I didn't see coming, because I think they're both individual players who will do mistakes. They will do your odd individual mistakes, but I have to give it to them. Although the standards at Bayern are so high, and 4 goals against Barcelona, okay, not accepted at all. But somehow, Kompany, where he was criticized that he would just play this plan A kind of way, they managed to establish a quite good defense, I must say.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned there, with Bayern at 36 points, Leverkusen at 32, you're expecting it to be a 2-horse race. Mind you, the Bundesliga kicks off tomorrow with Dortmund hosting Leverkusen. A very big test for Leverkusen. Dortmund's home form has been very good. Gave away points at home to Hoffenheim, but other than that, been very dominant at home. And then you have the 5 points down to Eintracht. But like you said, Leverkusen now, Schick 9 goals in his last 5 Bundesliga games. You have Boniface, who has 8 goals in his 15 appearances. You have Florian Wirtz, 7 goals, 7 assists. And then Bayern, much led by Kane and Musiala and Olise, who's been a very good signing for Bayern. But then you have down to Eintracht, you have RB Leipzig, and the rest of the pack that follows. But Eintracht on 27, RB Leipzig on 27. You could also argue that Marco Rose is still in his job because of his performances against Eintracht in the Cup and the League. You mentioned it briefly, but Eintracht got off to a very strong start, but ended the Hinrunde rather weak with 3 losses in a row, 5 winless games in all competitions. How would you assess Eintracht overall, Topmüller's impact, and sort of, it's an interesting one as part of it, because does Topmüller get the recognition he deserves as part of it? Because by all accounts, Eintracht in third, huge success.
Eintracht in third is a great success, but remember last season as well, they were 6th in the league, and there was still some skeptical kind of voices in the environment of Eintracht Frankfurt, because sometimes it's very underestimated how a football town, how a passionate town Eintracht Frankfurt is. But as we speak, Marcus, we can't speak without ignoring what's going on around us now concerning Marmoush. Because Omar Marmoush, there is no chance that Eintracht Frankfurt want him to go. Having said that, Eintracht Frankfurt is a selling club like most clubs on this planet. So this is the club who sold Muani. They got him for free and sold him for 95 million euro. But that was after the season. And now City are clearly interested to get Marmoush in. He is a player who can play in different positions. I learned, as it says, but I've got quite good sources on this, that Bayern, sorry, I've said that again, but because he's been linked to Bayern as well, but Eintracht Frankfurt didn't want to sell the player. The player's representative were yesterday, that is Wednesday, they went to Manchester and talked to Manchester City about the role of Marmoush. Are you coming just as a replacement or a substitute for Erling Haaland, or will you be more? I come to the thing with Alvarez, Marcus. When they lost him to Atletico Madrid City, they missed him. Now, knock wood, Erling has not been injured. He's played all the time. But I think that he can make Manchester City better. So as we do speak, it seems that the player's representative and the player would like to go to Manchester City. But as we speak, and I say that again, there's been no formal approach to Eintracht Frankfurt from Manchester City. Remember, there are at least three parties: selling club, buying club, player, family, agent, representatives, lawyers, and so on. So I think that they will ask for a lot of money. I think we're talking about 80 million euro if they let him go. Frankfurt being some of the best negotiators in our business. So the reason I told you that background, Marcus, is that it's hard to say how their season will be if they don't have Marmoush. Ekitike will be there. If I know Marcus Krusher and the way he works, he will have someone up his sleeve. Remember, Marmoush didn't come as a superstar to Eintracht. They have made him into a superstar. So Eintracht will be sure that they have someone in there, but we don't know how they will be doing. But Eintracht Frankfurt and Dino Topmüller have done a fantastic job. Just at the end of the season, they have conceded too many goals. I think it's 5 games, 13 goals. And it's a bit of the balance in the way they're playing, Marcus, because they love their high pressure. They love to go forward with speed, with passion, with energy. And then as a former defender yourself, Marcus, you know how challenging it is then to kind of switch from having the ball to not having the ball. And now the last couple of 3 weeks, that has not been very good at Eintracht Frankfurt. So they have to do something there. They have St. Pauli now in the first game. They need, as any other team, but especially Eintracht, need a good start to the Rückrunde, because that is a trend. That is what people. Then they have Freiburg at home. So go to St. Pauli, win that game, have a home game. I think that is the key to where they will find it. But I still expect them to manage top 4. As for RB Leipzig, if I say that, it's now 8-9 days since Jürgen Klopp started his job as head of global soccer at Red Bull. Remember Jürgen Klopp being the coach of Marco Rose back in the days of Mainz? Well, before Christmas, Pip Linders, who was his assistant coach, lost his job in Salzburg. They say Klopp hadn't started yet, but nothing happened now, I guess, at Red Bull without Klopp knowing about that. So there's so many issues we're going to take up, Marcus, and I think that the Jurgen Klopp stuff, we will make an episode just on him, what to expect in his job, and then if I'll end that with Dortmund, you can add, Marcus. Dortmund, just before we started here, they extended the contract with Sebastian Kehl. That has been discussed for a quite long time as well. So he extended his contract of sport director till 2027. So now you're updated on all the different issues in German Bundesliga as we speak today on the Thursday.
Yeah, and bear in mind, he got snubbed, if you may, for the CEO role with Lars Ricken taking that over. But nonetheless, a kind of legacy bearer for Dortmund, been their captain and what have you, knows the Dortmund DNA. Just to go down through your talking points in order, I think on Eintracht, just quickly, I mean, Marmoush is 1 goal behind Harry Kane in the top scorer charts of the Bundesliga, 13 Bundesliga goals, 6 assists. And a small point to make about Eintracht, this is not by any means a star when they got him on a free. The same you can say of Muani, who is also at the very center of the transfer rumors this month. They sold Muani after getting on a free for 95 million euros. They might sell Marmoush, whether it's January or in the summer, in the region of 70 to 80 million euros. You suddenly have then an Eintracht Frankfurt and a sporting director, head of sport, what have you, in Markus Krusher, who's then selling 2 players of a profit of 170-ish million euros. That is a tremendous achievement in terms of recruitment, and we've talked about that before. But wow, in terms of identifying talent and then selling on, Marmoush had an incredible last year. We will do a special on RB Leipzig, I think, or the Red Bull organization, because there's a lot of changes going on. It's been a tough year for them. Underwhelming performances, not a lot of trophies there. RB Leipzig with maybe a chance of competing in the cup. And then Dortmund, of course, who find themselves in sixth, equal on points with Mainz and Bremen, believe it or not. And that kind of gets, yeah. Go ahead before I go.
No, I'm just saying, just to add this, Mark, before we're going down the table for the relegation zone, I will add that also Pacho, when they sold him, that is, they bought him for 10, sold him for 45. That was one season. And in terms of Eintracht, I got good sources. I speak to the people all the time. So what I'm going to say now could be, when people listen to this, maybe not true, because I haven't talked to anybody at Eintracht about this. But you can see that there is a possibility, if you do the math, that they sell Marmoush and take Muani, who is struggling a bit at PSG, they take him on loan for the rest of the season. You can see that happening. That has been happening before. But no, this is just my speculations. But that is the math that is going on in the international window right now.
And wouldn't be the craziest rumor in the transfer windows by any means either. As we move ourselves down the table, it was just to say that you have a pretty interesting fight for European places in the Bundesliga. And it's pretty exciting because you suddenly have these teams led by young and exciting profile of managers. You have Mainz on 25 points and Bremen on 25 points, equal with Dortmund, like I said. There you have Ole Werner and Bo Henriksen. Bo Henriksen at Mainz and Ole Werner at Bremen, doing tremendously well, but by no means an expectation of them to be there where they are. And then you have Gladbach and Freiburg on 24 points, and then you have Stuttgart on 23 points, who are in 10th. So it's proving a very tight spot for the European spots. And if the Hinrunde is anything to go by, there's not been much that separated the teams either. So it'll be interesting to see. And then you suddenly have someone like a Burkhardt for Mainz, who's on 10 goals. And then you think, okay, maybe he is a viable replacement for Marmoush. Who knows? You have Kleindienst, who's kind of taken over the new Füllkrug role. 9 goals for Gladbach, coming from Heidenheim as well. So a pretty interesting one and worth looking at, and also for some underrated profiles of the Bundesliga, I'd say.
Yeah, and I haven't told you this, Marcus, but I haven't told you, I'm not just doing it, we haven't told you. I did City West Ham on Saturday. 4-1 Manchester City, number 9 or the striker for West Ham, Füllkrug. So I hoped to get him afterwards. I didn't get him, but he was in the mix zone, and he came over, and we had a great chat.
Oh, that's lovely.
I had no time to. I had no time to talk about our podcast and how we loved him, but it was so friendly to see him. He was exactly like I hoped he would be. He was very open. Füllkrug, I was just laughing because we both love him and his story, and he scored, of course, the 4-1 goals. And another thing, on Sunday I will be in the double pass from Sport 1. This is the live program, which is every Vormittag after a round. There I will be with Mario Basler, who is the expert, the cult player of German football, but also Nils Pettersson, who is in Freiburg, a great striker. So I do look forward to speak about German football there.
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice, very in-depth, and obviously a very reputable program as well. And we'll get a little football channel mentioned there as well.
We have to have a German. We have to have the football channel mentioned in there. I will get me into the titles of because I'm not having any official job in Germany, so I have to get the podcast football channel in.
Exactly. And then when we get towards the end here, in terms of preview, call it what you may, we have the relegation zone. Now, very recent, obviously, but Bochum still find themselves for that matter, in 18th on 6 points. 4 of those points were gathered following Dieter Hecking coming in. They had a draw against Union Berlin and then a win against Heidenheim. But that has changed.
Yes, there was an Urteil, there was a judgment today. There was a protest, of course. The interesting thing with that one, they kept on playing. It was not like the game was broken off. They just kept on playing. As you were saying, it was a 1-1. But today, the judges of German football, so to say, they judge this as a win for Bochum. So that is 2 extra points for Bochum, much needed for them. But Bochum are back. You know, the thing is with Bochum and Hecking is that they both do understand which situation they're in. This too good to go down syndrome that a lot of clubs have. Bochum won't have that. So they will fight for that. And by these 2 points, they now have, at least they can see there is a hope. There is a light somewhere. Just have to see that it's not a train coming against them. But there is a light now. They have a chance, at least, to bounce back.
Absolutely. They will then be on 8 points, equal with Holstein Kiel. And then you have a club like Heidenheim, who are in the relegation playoff. 10 points they have. They haven't won.
We just show you. Sorry, Marcus, to interrupt you. Just show you how hard it is. You may think that you need 30 points to stay up, or now you played half of the season. They got 8, so they're up for a very tough ride. The 3 teams down there.
Absolutely, and it's rather concerning for Heidenheim. They haven't won the Bundesliga since 28th of September when they won to Mainz away. And despite having 3 wins in the 6 Conference League games, they have 8 losses in a row in the league going into this. It was always going to be tough when they lost Kleindienst to Gladbach, Beste to Benfica, and Vinci to Freiburg. But boy, oh boy, it's been tough for them. St. Pauli got themselves out of those relegation spots. And then it's worth mentioning, you obviously have the likes of Augsburg and Hoffenheim down there as well. But you have Union Berlin, who are 7 points ahead of Heidenheim. But worth mentioning that they sacked Bo Svensson over Christmas.
They did. Horst Held got him out. I was a bit surprised. I always liked Bo Svensson. Remember, they started the season so well. So now they will start all over again.
Indeed. And in comes Steffen Baumgart, the former Hamburg manager for that matter, but also Köln. And a character and someone that you've come across before. And he's your epitome of a good German manager. And he's got his sixpence on and all that. Now, there was expected that maybe he could revive Hamburg, the cursed club at this point. But even he found it tough. And it'd be interesting. I think he needs to quote unquote needs to do well in this job. I don't know where he would go then, so to speak. Maybe find himself in the Zweite Bundesliga. But got himself an opportunity at Union Berlin. And you'd like to think, from a romantic standpoint, that it would work.
Well, the thing is with Baumgart is that he, like Stefan, he fits in everywhere. You have that feeling that, he was perfect for Hamburg and was perfect for Köln, the way he did it there. A very charismatic coach, but coaches need wins. And you need to win and to establish or to stabilize the ship. And he needs to do that. And as you were saying, Marcus, it's somehow an extra chance for him to kind of build on that reputation that he had at Köln. He was the cult coach of the whole Köln, which is a very passionate carnival kind of city. But it was that for the whole German football. So I think that this is the best they have available. Union Berlin should have nothing to do with the relegation zone. So I expect him to take them back. I feel sorry for Bo who lost his job, but still that's unfortunately the name of the game. But I don't think Union Berlin will be down there. I think they will be quite safe, quite quick.
Before we get into your predictions and we're getting towards the end of this episode, Dad, I want a couple of thoughts. We have some of the transfer rumors. We're in it. We'll look to make a transfer special as well. We spoke about Marmoush to City, but in terms of substantial rumors, we have Donyell Malen from Dortmund to Villa potentially has expressed his desire to leave. And Dortmund, although they don't want to see him leave, are not kind of going in the way of that. Could potentially sell him for around £16 million or something of the kind. Certainly would be less than what they bought him for. I think it was around £30 million, so maybe break even. As such, an exciting player, I would say, but consistently inconsistent in a way. Suddenly will be away for spells, and then he'll score 5 games in a row. Is that an accurate depiction, you'd say?
Yeah, I think you're right. I followed him very closely because that was the time that I followed Dortmund through Erling Haaland, and he sometimes played with him, but he was always in the shadow of Erling. Erling always wanted to play alone up front because he needs the space. He doesn't want anybody else running into the space that he creates all the time, where he's a master. Without finding the English impression of Malen, I will say it's kind of Vogel, it's kind of fish. I'm not sure what he is. He's a great football player. He has all the abilities. Maybe he kind of knew and need a new environment. I think he came from Feyenoord, he came to Dortmund, and Aston Villa. We know maybe because Bailey hasn't been on top for Aston Villa, but they got Watkins. They have our superstar who only make great goals for Aston Villa. So they got a lot of good players at Aston Villa as well. They got an Emery, a very good organized coach. So that could be a good move for him. And it seems now with Gittens and the rest of the strikers, so to say, going forward for Dortmund, he won't get enough chances. I think he doesn't have a clear identity. Where is he? What is he doing? What is his strength? He is like a steady Eddie guy that scores his goal, have some good games, but no, he has not been a great success by Dortmund.
We're going to do a little quick one to end this episode. I want the predictions. I want it sweet. I want it sharp. And I'm going to run it by you. And and then let's see. We can get some feedback. We've already gotten some great comments on our YouTube community channel. We post there as well, where you can engage with polls and questions. And I did ask the audience in terms of predictions. And the same predictions that I asked the YouTube community, I will ask you, Dad. So
okay,
I will start with champion.
Leverkusen. And I'm saying that because I was challenged by ESPN, where I do also work, to make some bold predictions. And I was looking for a bold prediction, and now I have to stick to it. I think that Leverkusen could catch Bayern. I'm not sure that I 100% believe that, but it's a bold prediction, so I say Leverkusen. But don't put it in the headlines.
No, okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. We'll see what I do. Top 4 finishers.
Leverkusen, Bayern, Leipzig, and Eintracht Frankfurt.
Fair enough. Relegation, and I want bottom 2 and then relegation playoff.
Oh, I think you have to help me on that, Marcus. I still think that Bochum will go down.
Okay.
I think Holstein Kiel will go down. I like the story of the club. And talking about stories, St. Pauli, can they dump in again, or?
So you think Heidenheim then will stay put?
I think Heidenheim have shown that at top level. Remember, I love Heidenheim. I love them to have them up there, but it's not your typical poor man or woman get into a great party. This is not Leonardo DiCaprio on Titanic. This is Heidenheim coming in there, also with some backing to get in there. So this is not a charming story, but it's very hard to tell, Marcus, because like I said earlier, Hecking, Bochum, they know what to do. So I think it's going to be a tough battle. I've been in a couple of them in my time in the Bundesliga, and I can see the same happening this year.
Manager of the season.
Manager of the season. It's very hard. I will say Dino Topmöller, because if Dino Topmöller managed to get them into the Champions League, he has to be there. It could be Alonso if he managed to make it 2 in a row. It could be Company if he take Bayern back to the winning streak, also doing good in the Champions League. But remember, the standards of Bayern are sky high, and they're already out of the cup. There is a time that you expect them to win the double every year. They can't do that. I'm not saying that. And I praise Company for kind of surprising me a bit how he has sorted out Bayern. But I got Dino Topmöller. Substitute, I will say Werner at Werder.
Yep, that's fair. And then lastly, I want your hot take. You're already given us a hot take with the Leverkusen. Yeah. What's another bold
maybe two
prediction or hot take?
Wow.
I'll give you mine.
Yeah,
I think Bochum will keep their spot. I think there's something there.
I don't think it's hot enough.
Is it not hot enough? They're bottom. No, because they're bottom. They were like 6 points, and now they got 8.
Yeah. Dieter Hecking and Bochum. But I understand what you're saying. They were hopeless away. But Dieter Hecking and Bochum, with the track record, can. I give you the hottest of the hottest. Yeah,
I need to get hotter and bolder. That's what I need to do.
But I got a hottest.
Hit me with it.
Leipzig will be maybe struggling, and Klopp will find a way to get involved in daily business. I can't see it being hotter than that. Can you imagine if Jurgen Klopp comes back? And I'm saying this with the potential of a hot, bold prediction because I want Marco Rose. You know, I'm a big fan of Marco Rose. But I think that Jurgen Klopp, we said we're going to do a special on that one. I think Jurgen Klopp, so half of him misses, half of him loves the new life, paddling, looking brown, looking sharp, running around the world, looking after the Red Bull portfolio. But another part of it, wow, when he sees what the coaches are doing. So I think this thing in his head can maybe make him a comeback. But I can see, Marcus, that isn't even too hot.
We can expand on that when we speak about Klopp and his responsibilities as such. And with that, that is our predictions. That are a little review and preview. Who's your pick to win the Bundesliga? Will Leverkusen steal it in front of Bayern? Who will be top scorer for that matter? Let us know in the comments. You can subscribe, like, and comment. We're also on YouTube if you're hearing this on audio, and vice versa. We're on audio channels. We'd love for you to engage with us on YouTube, and subscriptions are always good. Please share it if you may, if you like it. And again, give us your predictions. Let us know what you think as we go into a very exciting second half of the season. For that, Dad, auf Wiedersehen, and we will speak over the weekend.
We will. We look forward to the start of the Rückrunde.